In this reflection, we revisit 7 warnings present in Marian messages throughout history, not as sensational predictions, but as spiritual appeals, similar to those associated with Fatima, La Salette, and Akita, reminding humanity of its moral responsibility and its call to conversion. These warnings do not seek to create fear, they seek to awaken awareness, faith, and commitment to God and to one another. The first plague is the loss of faith and the cooling of the spiritual life. At Fatima, the shepherd children heard the call to penance and a return to God during a time when Europe was moving toward conflict and secularization. Today we see empty churches, spirituality replaced by consumerism, inner emptiness, anxiety, and a generation struggling with meaning and identity. This reality echoes ancient warnings, and it is already unfolding before our eyes. The second plague is division within families and society. At La Salette, Our Lady spoke of wounded homes and hardened hearts. In our time we see broken relationships, domestic loneliness, constant tension, deep misunderstandings between generations, and polarization that fragments entire communities. This is not only a social problem, it is a spiritual wound at the foundation of human coexistence. The third plague is the experience of war and violence. At Fatima, the warning that greater conflicts could come if there were no conversion resonated with later historical events. Today we again witness regional wars, persecution, forced migration, the destruction of cities, and global fear. These are signs that call us to responsibility, prayer, dialogue, and a commitment to peace. If this reflection is helping you understand the signs of our time and strengthen your faith, I invite you to subscribe to the channel and walk with us on this spiritual journey. Here we seek to unite discernment, hope, and devotion. By subscribing and sharing this message, you help it reach many others who also need words of faith and consolation. The fourth plague is moral collapse and confusion of values. Many spiritual messages warn of a time when good and evil seem to lose their boundaries, and the human conscience weakens. Our age reveals this reality, a culture of indifference, superficial relationships, the normalization of sin, and the loss of spiritual and ethical principles. When truth is relativized, human dignity becomes fragile, and society walks without inner direction. The fifth plague is the disregard for human life and for others. In countless Marian messages, the appeal to compassion, mercy, and care for the weakest is constant. Today we see inequality, indifference, abandonment, and vulnerable lives reduced to statistics. The absence of mercy becomes a social wound that deeply affects the heart of the world. The sixth plague is linked to the suffering that arises from human choices. In Akita, for example, the warning about spiritual and moral consequences speaks clearly to the modern world: humanitarian crises, environmental degradation, social imbalance, collapse in vulnerable regions, and pain that falls especially upon the poor and the innocent. This is not fate, it is responsibility. The seventh and deepest plague is indifference to the call of God. More serious than external conflicts is the human heart that no longer listens, no longer prays, no longer loves, a heart closed to grace, living as if God did not exist. When humanity silences its spiritual voice, it loses the meaning of life itself. Yet even in the darkest times, hope remains. God continues to call, to touch consciences, and to invite the world to begin again. These warnings are not declarations of doom, they are invitations to conversion, to prayer, reconciliation, charity, change of life, and return to the gospel. 3 of these plagues are already visible in our time. But the future remains open to the grace of God, because every heart that converts transforms a part of the world. Mary, Mother of Mercy, intercede for us, for our families, and for the whole world. Grant us courage to choose the path of peace, faith, and conversion. Amen. If this message brought reflection and hope to your heart, share this video with someone who also needs to hear this spiritual call. Write in the comments, Our Lady, protect the world and convert our hearts. And to continue receiving messages of faith, discernment, and devotion, subscribe to the channel and remain with us in prayer.